the Fanchise Forecast, where we go through rapid-fire takes on these Knicks who are hot or might be cold. Out here in New York, Dex, it is ice cold. It's been freezing out here last couple weeks, as you know. So we're going to kick off the Fanchise Forecast speaking on one guy, man, and that is our guy, Cardiac Clarkson, man. He's found his way all the way to the end of the Knicks bench with no relief in sight, man. Jordan Clarkson logging DMPs after DMPs. Seems like he's out of the rotation, man. What's your take on JC, man?
My take is after the trade deadline, well, assuming JC is not moved, this is what I'll say. My take is he will have an opportunity at some point, probably, to show the Knicks if he can be a microwave scorer to eat off the bench. But I fear this more likely to be a buyout candidate. That's probably what I see, and I just think he's not defending. In fact, when Shamet came back, he took his minutes real quick, said everything I needed to know to me. Mike Brown values guys who can defend and also make shots, and right now he's not defending. So unless he gets better defensively, I don't see him getting back in his rotation. But you never know. With injuries, there's always a shot. He's a professional, will stay ready. But if not, I think the Knicks might end up buying him out. They're probably looking to move him by Thursday.
Wow. I'm not so sure if they move him. I did like the pickup. I thought the Knicks were very fortunate to get him in the way that they did, having the Jazz buy him out. He was notoriously, over the 9-year history of this show, I think every trade deadline there was a suggestion from a Knicks fan out there for us to trade for Jordan Clarkson. To that, I would shoot down vehemently. But I did welcome his addition as a waiver pickup. And look, he had some highs, man. He helped his team secure the NBA Cup. And as a shot creator, he did give them a little bit of extra off of that bench. But when Landry Shamet has come in here, he's making winning plays. And that's why people are like, where is Clarkson? I think, look, when the Knicks got into that rut, that 2-11 rut, it forced Brown to tighten things up on the rotation, not experiment so much, and go with the guys who can play on both sides of the ball efficiently, make sound decisions, shoot the ball efficiently. And Jordan Clarkson, he's just not that guy. He has to work himself, lather himself, whatever it is, balls, into a rhythm. And so it's just, it's just a little sticky right now for Clarkson. But as you said, he could have his moment back in the sun. I wouldn't totally write him off. He could be back.
I wouldn't rule it out. Yeah,
I wouldn't rule it out.
I wouldn't rule it out.
Yeah, because, for example, Dex, our next guy who found himself on the DMP side of the house is resurging in this rotation, especially with no Deuce McBride, and he is Tyler, the Creator, Kolek. Over the last week, Tyler Kolek with 8.7 points per game, shooting 50% from 3, 1.8 makes, and 6 assists. The Creator is back in the rotation, man, giving the Knicks some much-needed playmaking. What have you thought about Tyler in his return to the rotation?
Look, man, he's been good. The thing that comes down to it with Tyler, the Creator, for me is how is he going to hold up against playoff level teams? And is he going to, he's going to get hunted. Teams are going to pick on him. Can he hold his own defensively? That's the key. I could get into all the numbers. I like the scoring and the assists. And he gave them points last night when they needed it against the Lakers when the Knicks offense was struggling. So I do like that. I'll tell you what. I'll put it like this: the way he's played in the 2 stretches that we've seen him play really good this season, has told me like he's improved this year, and I like the growth that I've seen in his game. Tyler Kolek wants to be here. He doesn't want to get traded. I want to see it work out for the young man. I really do. The key is how do the Knicks feel about him, and whether they need to upgrade the backup point guard spot. Everything that we hear at the New York Post is that, hey, the Knicks still would like to see if they could improve the backup point guard, but particularly with somebody who could defend. Now that's where like a Jose Alvarado comes in. I think Jose Alvarado, while being an undersized guard, you can't pick on him the same way. But I like the way Kolek is playing. I'm kind of rooting for him to stay past the deadline. I want to see it work out more for him here. And I just like that I think he's gotten better. He's still got some ways to grow. I believe in the Tyler Kolek upside. So I'm liking what I'm seeing with him, and hopefully he's here past the deadline.
I love what he's given this team. I've said it over the last couple of weeks. I said, look, You know, his weaknesses be damned. I think his playmaking is a necessity for this second unit. I was at the Laker game last night. I saw one possession where, you know, he's cooking, he's flowing. I think this was in the fourth quarter or the third quarter. And they had one where he passes the ball to Towns and he clears out. And I'm just watching them go from Towns to Hart to this guy to that guy. Ends up being a shot clock violation. I'm screaming to the top of the roof, give it back to Tyler Kolek. Because with the ball in his hands, he makes everything easier, man. And shout out to the Strickland. Knicks have a plus 14.85 net rating in 145 minutes with Tyler on the floor with no Brunson, no McBride, and no Clarkson. You even saw some Brunson and Tyler minutes in that game last night. Mike Brown putting two ball handlers out there. To me, his playmaking is a necessity. I'll live with the weaknesses if he can help this team with his playmaking.
And I like that Mike Brown went back to that. Sorry to cut you off.
No,
I like Mike Brown went back to that because we hadn't seen that from him in weeks. We saw that a lot during the Cup run. We even saw lineups, which is crazy because he's out of rotation now. We saw lineups with Clarkson, Brunson, and Kolek at a time. Look, Kolek's elite skill is passing and playmaking. There's no doubt about it. He even had a play, I want to say it was in the fourth quarter last night. I was at the Garden. He almost lost the ball, got it back, drove baseline. Two defenders collapsed on him. He actually beat his man. He could have went for up and under layup and kicked it out. I think it was to OG. Or it was Shamet. No, he found Shamet in the corner. Shamet 4-3. And it was just a great play by him off of a broken play. Heads up. You like that he's always looking to pass. He's getting a little bit more aggressive in the shot. Look, I was down on what I saw from him in Summer League. And you can't go too crazy about Summer League. But he's really improved his game and has really worked on it. And the guys on the team say that all the time. He's got good chemistry in finding bridges cutting. They're really good at that. I believe that you said necessity. That's a strong word here for Tyler Kolek. Necessity.
I think it's a necessity, man.
That's a strong word. Here's the key. Here's my thing for you, CP.
Yeah.
Right now, today, on February 2nd, do you trust him to play 12 to 15 minutes in the playoff game?
No. But this is why I want to see it.
Fair.
But this is why I want to see the regular season. I like the fact that I like the test last night against Marcus Smart. He's got to defend Marcus Smart. He's got to outsmart Marcus Smart. And he's got to figure out a way to get around Marcus Smart. That was a great matchup for me to watch, like the game within the game. And I thought he handled himself pretty well, man. You know,
Marcus Smart was pressing at the time.
Yeah, they were.
Picking him up full court.
Yes, they were.
And I remember seeing that. I remember a couple times and I was like, man, I hope he doesn't get ripped or doesn't make a turnover. And he was fine. He held his own. So CP, you're in the place of being like, I like how Kolek is trending. On February 2nd, I'm not confident that he can still play 12 to 15 minutes in the playoffs game.
Right.
But you're believing that it's possible that could change by the end of March or early April, and you might feel completely different.
I'd like to see if this experience continues to toughen him up. He played a tough game last night, tough shot making, and made plays for his team. I just feel like that second unit without him, when they put in a Deuce, a Shamet, a Towns, and Hart, I think they're going to get stuck trying to get plays. I don't want Deuce on the ball. Deuce has to be as a shooter.
Off the ball.
That's where they're going to get into issues when they play tougher defenses, and that's where, to me, they can't go away from Tyler. But Tyler Kolek certainly heating back up. And last but not least, Dex, on the Fanchise forecast, he is on fire, and his name is Landry Shamet. This week, 9 points per game, 40% from the field, but 43.5% from three. Since coming back from the injury, Landry Shamet is shooting 45% from three on practically 5 attempts, man. Giving the Knicks exactly what they need off that bench. Your thoughts on Landry Shamet, his week, and his overall impact on this team?
He's been great, and who would have thought? I don't think any of us would have thought this, that a guy who was going to get the last roster spot, basically, right? Guaranteed roster spot, and that signed a non-guaranteed deal, will be this impactful for this Knicks team. He has been that. CP, the last time I saw you in person when it was at your watch party and it was a Miami game, we saw how he lit up the Heat in that game at the Garden, and he's been tremendous. And he's had, then he's come back from injury and has been just as impactful. It's amazing. I want to give credit to James Edwards III asked this question yesterday in the press conference. And James asked Mike Brown. He said, "Hey, this is a guy who we didn't think was going to make the team. When did you believe that this guy could be like this and part of this rotation in this way? And Mike Brown answered and said, he was like, I thought it was kind of an interesting answer. He said, I thought about this from when I interviewed for the job. I looked at what he did last year and was like, he can really help this team. And I was like, okay. Now, it's one thing to believe that. It's one thing for him to do. It's a great thing for the coach to empower him in doing it. And Landry Shamet's just been great. We're talking about a lot here tonight, CP? Players making winning plays. Players
winning plays.
Little things. Winning plays. And I think sometimes as a basketball loving community, we have to talk more about that, right? Like, just don't focus on all, they got to get to this stat and do this. It's sometimes the little things with Shamet. He's getting deflections. He's guarding guys. He's making them feel them, right? Like, he's an irritant. He's a presence. And because you can look at that shooting. The shooting's been great. But, to me, it's the defensive effort that he gives. That's what I'm most impressed with personally. Landry Shamet's been, for the value you're paying him, he's one of the best he's the eighth man. He's one of the best eighth men in the league. Like, he's been tremendous. And I don't think this was a guy I thought that could be in and out the rotation this year. And who would have thought Jordan Clarkson would have been out the rotation and Landry Shamet would be, because I didn't see that. I didn't see it.
Back in. We're giving the Knicks everything they need right now. Landry Shamet is on fire, ladies and gentlemen. And that concludes the Fanchise forecast. Landry Shamet, Tyler Kolek, and Jordan Clarkson being featured on this week's edition